see inclusivity in our schools. We want to see ramps being provided, sign language interpretation in schools. We want to see school materials being provided. Yes, government is trying. Yes, donors are trying. Civil society organizations are making their best efforts to ensure inclusivity in schools. We are making a gradual process. Yes, we have Nigerian Disability Act. At the moment, we have National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, but we need to do more. Persons with disabilities can become engineers tomorrow, medical doctors. They can become Nigeria's president tomorrow if the opportunities and support are given to them. But we need to be educated. Article 7 of United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities talks about the rights of children with disabilities. Are we giving them these rights? Article 24 of United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities also talks about education. Is our educational system inclusive? Are we really enrolling children with disabilities when their parents bring them to us to be enrolled? Are we giving them equal opportunities like children without disabilities? What are we doing to ensure that the national policy on inclusive education is achieved? As we are here today, think of strategies, think of action plans, think of what we need to do as a collective people, not as individuals. What are we bringing to the table? What's going to be the discussion? And how can we brainstorm to make sure that these children have been enrolled in schools? If I was not sent to school by my parents, I won't be here to address you. Please, education is very important. I mentioned earlier that a person with disability can become this country's president. He or she cannot achieve that without education. So education is very key, is significant, is very important in the lives of children with disabilities. Please, let's give them our rights. Let's give them their rights. I welcome you all to this significant event. Thank you so much.
Right now, I would love to hear a goodwill message from our stakeholders here on the high table. We will give them 2 to 3 minutes to say 1 or 2 things as a goodwill message before we take the next item on the agenda. Thank you very much.
Good morning, all. Good morning, Father. This Seeds Foundation. Kudos for all these arrangements and bringing up, coming up, encouraging all the policies that they are made into the activity of this foundation. Again, let me come up. So here, I always feel encouraged if such an organization can be inviting all the stakeholders within the society to be gracing this type of gathering. Why? Because it is everywhere. And whatever you are doing, you yourself, or your brother, or your son, happens to be within that class, you are in it also. So all what you could, what you can be able to bring up to encourage all this gathering, I think you just have to bring it or come up with it. So that is why I take it myself that it is very important. If they're in the room or a column for you, not even invited, if you see it, you come. If you say, no, especially you have something to contribute on the movement. And let alone, I know some people at the time started the struggle on the deficiencies that is being left out within the policies that are supposed to be introduced within the activities of government of every other time. I know some people have done well, they have come up with it. And the happiest thing to be said is the government adopted that or took up that and always coming out with a policy that can encourage this or put the system, put these people into the system so that they can also become all alone. So that is why I feel very happy when I see this invitation. I said I will come and see myself. More, or to have more advice, on the way forward for these people so that they can come up with it. As we earlier said, we are even looking forward for a time to come, one within this group to be even the president of this program. And I believe this will happen. Amen. This will happen, definitely. But the fundamental thing there is education. Everybody needs the education as a foundation. And I know within that class, nothing is impossible towards attaining or getting the education. So if there is that, there is nothing that will come up with surprise. It's very normal for the ministers, prime ministers, presidents to come. But all-inclusive education is something worth encouraging. And organizations like yours is something worth encouraging to get some more and more people or organizations getting registered to bring up or encourage this your time, the Center Foundation. So with this short word, I think I'm delighted. Honestly, I'm very happy. Anytime, any day, I'm invited. And we hope soon, through your own advice for these people, to be passing through their message through the political talks on the level of even going to the extent of redrafting or amendments within the Constitution. Let's really get involved. I'm calling on that. So honestly, thank you very much for honoring me even to speak, which I did not expect. I came as a participant, but all the same, I'm delighted. Thank you very much. God bless. Thank you so much.
It's similar honor for me for you give my own contribution to the topic that we are supposed to discuss this morning. Throughout my stay, or throughout my working career as a civil servant, this is on my 31st year in service. I have only 4 years to retire. My entire life, get up around 4 o'clock in the morning. I trained from my house to the school. I took my students, about 60 of them, to the stadium every morning on Saturday. Why? Because I believe that 70% of what my students are supposed to learn, it is not in the school. 60% or 70% of what my students are supposed to learn is not in the school. It's in the outside school premises. That is why I dedicated that I must work so hard to make sure that when my students are going back home for holiday, they not only go home with what we taught them in the school, but what the society taught them to take back home. To be frank, it is a duty as a teacher of special education. You must work with the parents, whether you like it or not. You must work with the society. So my work did not end and start in the school premises. My work starts from the very society that I live in. We are always together with the children at home. We are always together with them in the school. So inclusive education, the way I see it, it has gone beyond what the very curriculum of the school set up for us. And when I look at the curriculum that is designed for the normal children, I discovered that it was the one that we are adopting to use, which I think, I'm not really against it, but even we are going to adopt a curriculum that is used for the regular students, at least we should do it outside the special education center which the government designed for us, for proper implementation. Why? Because most of my students, one problem that I discover with them is that even when they graduate with a very good result, they found it extremely difficult to adapt. So in this little way I can contribute is, let us at least work harder again to see that implementation of integration and inclusive education for our children started now, because it's already too late. It is just too late, let me confess. And I also want to use this opportunity to call on the government to consider the kind of educational plan that is designed for our students. We are not really happy at all. We are not happy not because the government has failed to do what it was supposed to do. No, the government has been doing what they were supposed to do. But what we need, because the aim of the education is to see results, is to see the change in attitude and behavior of these children. But the students always feel and think that there is no other place in the world except this very special school and the blind and the deaf children that are used to. So let us at least see how we can be able to inculcate the value of the streaming in the mind of the student so that the aim and objective of special education can be achieved in a very long time. Thank you very much.
I want to start on the existing protocol. Even though I am confident, and this is my first time too, all the same, I would advance my reason that I am not late because I was here before almost all. Only that in the time, so I don't take off to come back and meet you going far, which I want to believe much has been said on the purpose of the meeting, but then I know by virtue of my presence and what made me to attend is, as earlier introduced my name, I have the opportunity to be serving as the Director and Finance in the Ministry of Information and Culture, and I am standing in for my Honorable Able Commissioner Mr. Julius Bishai with us. Principally, I am here to tender his unreserved apologies for his absence. He wanted to be here, but honestly, because of the shift and the changes of the time, that this meeting, even though God's time is always the best, and I want to believe God knows why He's making it possible for us to be here at this time. So I'm tendering his apologies, and I hope next time when such a meeting is going to be conducted, he will be here personally. So as a person standing in for Honorable Commissioner, I will not talk much, but rather to appreciate especially the founder of this NGO, and also for the effort to make it functional in the interest of service delivery remembering our people with disability. And we always know it. Even if one is disabled somewhere, but disabled higher than those able somewhere, that's just the thing. So we are appreciative, and I want to use this opportunity to call the attention of all concerned that we are one and the same before God. And honestly speaking, I am delighted to be part of this important and special occasion to enjoy the peace with this organization, particularly on this inclusion in education. Ours in the Ministry of Information, I will tell you that we are aligned and we are always together. And by nature of the policy of my Honorable Commissioner and Open Door policy, the doors are always open for you people, for the organization to uplift and to make its policies, decisions, and all that is supposed to be known public. That is to say, the ministry is starting with the responsibility to carry all along, and our Honorable Commissioner is up and doing. And our doors are always open for the people, for the organization, so while we appreciate, we also like to specifically, can I say, give an encouraging word for the founder to be resilient, because in any effort one is doing, there has to be resilience for the understanding and eventually the success of the mission. May I use singular opportunity to, can I say, leave the occasion, the organization to the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the success to the founder. Thank you very much for
This is our first time attending of this kind of occasion. So, with all the discussion we made, we are ready to start all the PWD emphasis on by the Apollo government. Before we come here, we are already passing our bill for the payment of the allowances to the PWD in the Apollo Secondary School, the primary school.
This meeting on inclusive education in our schools. First of all, I want to thank CSF Foundation for their tireless effort in helping persons living with disability. We wish you all the best. And secondly, I want to tell you that we are already in our schools, we are operating inclusive education, but not in all the schools. In some of the schools, because only that they are not having what they are supposed to have due to lack of facilities. But I'm sure with this meeting, I'm sure everything is going to be fine. And lastly, I want to assure you that SUBEP and CSF Foundation are partners in progress. And we are always here for you. Whenever you call us, we will be delighted to be here, inshallah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. On this meeting on inclusive education in our schools. First of all, I want to thank CSF Foundation for their tireless effort in helping persons living with disability. We wish you all the best. And secondly, I want to tell you that we are already in our schools, we are operating inclusive education, but not in all the schools. In some of the schools, because only that they are not having what they are supposed to have due to lack of facilities. But I'm sure with this meeting, I'm sure everything is going to be fine.
Wow.
Lastly, I want to assure you that SUBEP and CSF Foundation are partners in progress. And we are always here for you. Whenever you call us, we will be delighted to be here, inshallah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
During Arewa guda 19 wanda suka je intanet kwata-kwata mutum 74 masu digiri daga Arewa mutum 74 amma jiya Lagos kawai wanda suke da digiri a kan law suka je intanet mutum 89 ka gano na abu gap tukuna jiyoyi 19 da jiya in ka je kifin don ina da wane ne su suka ci gaba amma matsala sai muka bar muka samu matsala daga Arewa ba mu kuma ka dauki masu fara kan titi 80% yaya nan Arewa kalubale ne wa yan boko kalubale ne wa gwamnati kalubale ne wa malaman addini kalubale ne wa iyayen kasa kalubale ne wa su masu bukata ta musamman kuma dalilin da ta na kawo wannan magana shi ne ko iyayen mu kun zo wannan taro yau a Gombe state muna neman a fasin bill na commission na PWD an kasa fasi duk matakai da ya kamata mu yi ajiyar da mu gama an kasa bill din ya shafi education ya shafi rams ya shafi kuɗi yanzu a matsayin na ciyama ban so a mitin din na ministry for human development I'm very sorry zan faɗi wannan saboda ita ne modern ministry na PWD amma ba na wakilci daga ministry for women kuma wannan board din mani tun da ministry mani tana da grant saboda tana da director saboda akwai rams da kuka shigo to kaga ya nuna daga gidan mutu kuna ana kiyamu ya nuna da gidan mu da aka kana da kudi a mana ba a yake rayuwa ya kamata farin commissioner for women affairs and social welfare tana wannan program a zaune director na social welfare yana zaune kafin wasu directors na ministries ina son dauke da dama mu godiya musamman wa spec saboda ita ne take da kudin da take tallafa a PWD ta je ta yi da special education Ministry of Education ina budget ɗinka ina resources ɗinka tun da kun zo gobe za ku yi partnership a kan education kun tambayi Ministry of Education nawa aka budgetin wannan shekarar nawa suka sa special education duk gobe set special education guda ne muna da secondary school a gobe set ba makaranta na daga zo ya kamata it wurin zama sanata ya kamata ko special education an dauki malamai under sped ne na san makaranta ɗaya tana ilimi in ka je babu teachers so muna so ku fito da wannan area sai saboda a samu ci gaba tun da Allah sa za ku aiki a kan education a kan PWD nawa ne youth da suke zuwa secondary school a Gombe state nawa kuma disabled da suke zuwa nawa ne wanda suka samu jam a wannan shekarar in an samu jam maybe 200,000 ko 15,000 na youth sun samu admission a schools nawa ne disabled suka samu admission kuma ina son kuma mai wannan yanzu ku sani yanzu grade na Gombe state from 1999 to 2002 yanzu a putis kawai wanda aka yanke musu kafa da ririn talks na siyasa suka zo ne din a ko mutum 1,870 wanda kawai talks na siyasa aka yanke musu kafa wurin kalare ko wurin rikici a gwamnati so duka irin wannan abubuwan ya kamata ku fito da wannan irin zuwa a ba mu abin kuma muna ɗauka da dama mu yi godiya wanda suka zo Allah ya taimake su kuma muna godiya wa Ministry for Information da kuma shi principal na special education kuma daga ACO wakili daga ACO da kuma saura mana na so ba mu a matsayin da ruwan kasa ya tashi yana nan mai magana to amma saboda tashi shaɗu ne sa muna mishi godiya da kuma muna kara godiya wanda suka zo wannan shine kwasan da za ku nuna mana in mun ga ku mun san ba ku kiya mun ga ku mun san kuna kana in mun ga ku kun tabbatar mu ya ku in mun faɗi masalan ku duk da kuka samu dama za ku yi magana kai to wannan shine sako da muke nuna a cikin ba za mu iya ba sai da goyon su ma ba za su iya ba sai da goyon ba mu da goyon muna godiya wa 'yan jarida kuma muna godiya wa community da PWD kuma ku tashi ku ilimi shi da Allah ya
This session is going to be taken care of by our program officer in person of Mr. Emmanuel Ayogu. Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together for him.
Right, good afternoon, everybody. I want to stand on the existing protocol. It's a singular honor to have everyone that is here, starting from the director to the representative from there, to the representative from our local government, from our representative from Jonathan and other stakeholders here present. I appreciate you for coming. Thank you so much for making our time for today's service. Your Excellencies, Honorables, and everybody that has come out this morning. And so, the project being implemented, which is an advocacy program to promote inclusive basic education in Gombe, is to actually look at how stakeholders, critical stakeholders in Gombe State can come together. Both parents, government agencies that are concerned with this issue of inclusive education, government agencies that are key stakeholders captured in the policy, parents, traditional rulers, religious leaders, teachers, for us all to come together and look at how we can make education better for children with disability in this state and in Nigeria at large. So my name again is Emmanuel, and I will just give a brief overview of what the project is all about, and then we'll lead us into the next discussion where we'll now look at what do we do, what needs to be done going forward. So the Revive initiative, which is the title of the project that we are implementing, is a collaborative effort with state-to-state accountability, transparency, and effectiveness project. The Revive Initiative project is a special advocacy project designed to evaluate how far we have gone with the implementation of the national policy on inclusive education in Gombe State. So our emphasis is in Gombe State for this particular project. Our emphasis is in Gombe State. We want to look at how far have we gone in Gombe? How far have the stakeholders gone in advancing this inclusiveness in terms of our education system? And then look at ways in which we can build upon what has been achieved so far. Look at ways in which we can encourage ourselves to increase the enrollment numbers of children with disability in the state. So what we would like to ask is this policy, when we talk about this national policy on inclusive education, is it a new thing? Of course it's not. The policy is not. In 1977, during the launch of the National Policy on Education, Section 7 of that particular policy, as late as 1977, there were provisions for special educations across Nigeria. But what have we achieved since then? We made little progress as a result of either the way we implemented it, the policy, the way we implemented the policies, or the policy itself, the inadequacies that is found in the policy. So from 1997 to 1977 to 2003, this policy was what was being used to promote inclusion or inclusiveness of children with disability in terms of education. But this policy was inefficient. It was not really good. And so, in 2014, the Federal Ministry of Education commissioned a team to actually come up with a more broader policy on education, a more broader policy on inclusive education. And as a result of that, the policy that we now refer to as the National Inclusive Policy on Education, which is actually titled the National Policy on
special needs education was now launched in 2016. But since 2016 to this moment, what have we achieved? There seems to be the same mechanism that we applied during the policy that is during the era of the policy that is captured in the national policy on education. There seems to be the same treatment that we are still applying even in this more expanded and much more elaborate national policy on special needs education. Now, the government of Gombe State, I would say, should be commended in the sense that Gombe State leads in terms of progress among the whole South-Eastern states. Gombe State ranks, in fact, in terms of fully fledged, inclusive education schools in the whole country. Gombe State ranks 8th and is the leading northeastern state. So I think they deserve some happen, but much more needs to be done. Much more needs to be done. The reason is United Nations through UNESCO have said that Nigeria has 95% of children with disability that are out of school. And the total population of these persons are from between the range of 5 million to 7 million. So when you have 95% of these persons out of school, we can imagine the level of crisis that we are in as a result of the slow implementation of this policy. And I was glad when the representative from Apple government actually said that they have started implementing, and then again the representative from Subeb House said that they are also making progress. And it's evidence in the statistics that I just showed you so far with regards to the progress that Gombe State has made. Across the whole country, the population of special needs schools is 1,117 to serve a population of about 7 million children. It is grossly inadequate. We are not doing enough. Now, the policy in itself did not actually lay emphasis on enrollment in only special needs schools. The policy was specific in that the policy says that schools, regular schools that persons without disabilities attend, should be made inclusive so that children with disability can also attend that same school. And that is the area where states are still lagging behind, very, very far behind. Yes, Gombe State have done a lot in terms of creating, building special schools. As I've said earlier, Gombe State has closed about 50-something or so special schools currently. If I don't know statistics, Gombe State has about yes, I'm right, about 50 schools already fully functional. But that is not enough to cater for. On the average, each state in Nigeria has, close to 277,000 children with disabilities. So when you now have about 50 schools to take care of, you now get the sense that we are not yet there where we need to be in terms of inclusive education. And that is why this project is coming. The project is coming so that we can come together as key stakeholders, both as parents, both as organizations of persons with disability, both as government agencies who are directly or indirectly involved, because there are critical things that determine this school enrollment. Orientations are part of the barriers. And I'm very excited when my daddy here, Mr. Abelo from the Ministry of Information and Communication and Culture. And I was when he was growing me up, I was so excited that you have shown so much passion, and I want to appreciate this. Thank you very much for showing so much interest. And I believe that the ministry will do much more in partnership with this project. The ministry is going to take a major role in helping reshape the mindset, because one of the challenges we have in this thing is mindset. People are not willing, many parents are not too willing to enroll children with disability. There is this sense to which we still treat children with disabilities as liabilities. These persons are not liabilities. They should not be treated as objects of pity. They have equal rights. They have fundamental human rights, which is equal to every right that every other person shares. So we are not saying that we are, this advocacy project is not that we are begging. It is a right. That is what we are saying. It is a right that must be given to these children with disability in the same manner in which children without disabilities education is treated. In funding, in awareness, in learning, in provision of materials, assistive materials, in provision of conducive environment, inclusive environment for these children to learn and to achieve their potentials in life. That is the basis of this project. And we at CSF Foundation have been at this, even before the start of this particular project, we have been at the vanguard of championing inclusion for persons with disability. Much more importantly also, inclusion for children with disability in education, in empowerment. And in every field that will enable them to, live a normal life that persons without disability, children without disability live in the society that we find ourselves. So I do not want to take much of our time again. I just want us to, look as stakeholders, as critical stakeholders, both teachers, as government agencies that are, saddled with the responsibility of inclusive education, government agencies that are saddled with the responsibility of information dissemination, government agencies, every critical stakeholder that is here to look at how do we go from here. That is the reason for this advocacy. It's not that we want to start, opening people to. We want to look at what is the way forward. How can we make, Gombe State currently is number 8 in terms of schools that are built for special needs. How can we get Gombe State to that point where Gombe State can beat its heart and say we are the number 1 most inclusive state in terms of education across Nigeria? And I know it is possible because the government is willing, of which we have seen as the statistics have shown. The government is willing, the government is committed. But we also need to go further as partners in promoting it and in exploring ways through which this policy can be fully implemented across the length and breadth of Gombe State. Thank you.
I believe we have done justice to the Revive Initiative project. We have listened, we have heard it. We now understand the goal of this organization and what we are pursuing as an organization. The next thing we're going to take on the agenda, we are going to be looking at what are those next steps we need to take. What are the next things to do? What is the way forward for this particular project to succeed throughout the lifespan of this project? And we would love to listen to the rapporteur team. They will come and give us, tell us all what we have done from the beginning of this program to this point, and then we'll listen to the next possible steps we can take in order to succeed in this particular project. The rapporteur team, please.
We need to stand on the protocol that has been established already for all of time. My name is Innocent Patrick. I volunteer for CSF Foundation. We have been told that this event is organized to advance the efforts of the federal government on inclusivity with a particular focus on inclusive education education of children with disabilities. Advantages of inclusive education, which is capable of producing even a person with disability in the capacity of the president of this country, has been clearly outlined as was contained in the speech of the executive director and founder of CSF Foundation. She also outlined the challenges, the questions, the commitment of government at various levels and the society at large to educating children with disabilities. The head of district head of Gombe encouraged this activity that it deserves every necessary support from all and sundry, not only the government, but all of us as individuals, including family members of children with disabilities. The principal inclusive education made us to know that with 34 years to retire, he has lived his life devotedly and dedicatedly, working so hard to advance the cause of persons, children with disabilities. And he has been selflessly supporting children with disabilities. At the moment, he stressed the need for us to work in partnership with parents as well to ensure inclusive education. He also stressed the need for a present curriculum to be so designed that it will accommodate children with disabilities beyond the classroom. The Director of Finance and Admin, Mr. Abubakar Bello, representing the Honorable Commissioner of Ministry of Information and Culture, not only appreciates the founder and executive director of the CSF Foundation for efforts made towards an inclusive society, but particularly persons with disabilities in Gombe State. Then the Ministry of Information has been allied to inclusion with the open door policy of the Honorable Commissioner and encourage the Executive Director of the CSF Foundation to remain resident. The representative of our local government said the meeting has been first of its kind, but before now, the Council has passed a bill to educate children with disabilities free. Super Director, in her own welcome remarks, good message, made us to know that Super has been working untiringly to remain inclusive, and they are already inclusive. And with what CSF Foundation is doing at the moment, whatever must have been deficient about superb and inclusion or inclusive education is going to be addressed and promise to remain a partner in progress with CSF Foundation. I myself capture the presentation of Jonathan Chairman in the state because he delivered in Hausa, and though I am Hausa leader, I'm trying to be good Hausa speaker. So please pardon me, it's not around now. And as we got inside into the project, the program officer looked at the way that made us to know that this is building the program as a whole is put together to find ways in which children with disabilities can have equal and equitable education just as children without disabilities. And that coming together, the meeting is coming together of all the critical stakeholders from Super Ministry of Information, the traditional institutions, community-based associations, including parents, to see how we can come up with ideas that will not only ensure inclusive education but sustain inclusive education. Yeah, laboratory is not a one-person something. Maybe we are all in the classroom. If there's anything I help out, I suppose we will really after this. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All we have discussed through this program. Right now, we would love to listen to our guests, the stakeholders. We would love to listen to them tell us what are those next steps necessary we need to take. They have heard everything that the project is all about, and then they have also told us where these problems are lying. So we would love to give them 2 minutes each to give us a brief of how this project would, what phase it will take throughout this 1 year of the project. We would love to listen to them. We will start with
but then I will say, let me open up very categorical. If this organization needs, can I say, airtime to make it possible in such a way that policies, purpose, and challenges will be made known to the members of the public. Let the CSF Foundation apply to the Honorable Commissioner so that we will make it a way, we will take it as a mandate for us to assist so that we will have your own resource people that can really digest on the issues, the purpose, and the challenges. For it to be known, talk to what, inshallah, we do our best as far as making this way to hit the success and the whole process. Thank you very much.
Apart from inclusive education, we were able to train some of our teachers on inclusive education. They were trained at the center there, at the special school. They were given training on special education so as to help them manage ability. And there's another problem. The last time we visited the school, the principal was telling us that they have a large number of their students who are SME holders, others are degree holders. But the problem is they don't have the access to be enrolled in the civil service. So that is what I want to remind you. Maybe it will be in your campaign. For us in Sugar, we continue doing what we are doing. On capacity building for teachers and encouraging the parents. My department is social mobilization. So we are going out for advocacy and sensitization to parents to send their children with disabilities to school. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very hard. A capacity building training for regular teachers so that they can be able to handle and manage children with special needs when they were enrolled in their schools. And the kind of training that they gave us, it really goes a long way to help accept those children when they are enrolled. And they don't necessarily have to bring them to special school because the impacting sometimes it's a little bit more devastating than we need these children to be integrated into the normal society. So the idea of special schools is not supporting this inclusive education. Secondly, we need to work with the parents. The parents need to be properly enlightened in the importance of enrolling their children in a regular school. But the problem is that we have about 11 local governments in Gombe State, and we have about thousands of primary schools. And most of the train those teachers in those primary schools is very challenging, but with that we have to start it from somewhere. In our own, children that we can be able to support them with hearing aids, or who have received hearing vision that can be able to manage the regular school, we encourage them to go to regular schools. And we also advise the SBEP and the Ministry of Education to find a way that they can build a regular school in the special education center so that the children will move around and meet freely with the so-called regular students, so that the issue of stigmatization and inferiority, which is seriously affecting our students, can be reduced to the nearest minimum. Thank you very much.
This is our first time for the children of the Single City Foundation. So all the discussion made, inshallah, will go through with it, and we hope for this Single City Foundation, including the local government areas, for more improvement of the sector of the three sides of the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our M&E officer, that is our monitoring and evaluation minister officer in person of Mrs. Rebecca Hassan. She will come and give us the closing remarks.
I want to use this time to appreciate each and every one of us seated here, more especially the members of the high table. We really appreciate your coming. When we invite you within a short time and out of your busy schedule, you people are here. We are saying thank you. All the members, all the stakeholders that are here, we are saying thank you for your coming. We appreciate you. And I want to use this time again on behalf of Cedar Seed Foundation to ask all the stakeholders that are here to help us to advocate, to enlighten people around you, more especially the parents that have children with disability, to educate them so that they will know the importance of inclusive education. Because most of the parents, when you told them about inclusive education, they are just seeing that their children will just go there and suffer. So we are pleading to you, please, you should help us and advocate for those parents that have children with disability so that they will know the importance of taking their children. There is no need for them to come down to Gombe or Biliri to attend special school. Since Subeb, they are ready to help us. When we went to them for advocacy visits, they give us full assurance that they will work with us, they will partner with us because the policy is on ground. So you people should help us and advocate for those parents so that they will take their children to nearby school. But there is no need for them to suffer themselves or to suffer the children coming to the or Biliri for special school. So we are saying thank you for your coming. When you are going back, we will take you back safely. We appreciate your coming on behalf of Cedar Seed Foundation. Thank you.
We really, at this juncture, want to appreciate all of you for your patience, for your attentiveness all through this meeting. May God Almighty reward us all in this cause. Right now, we'll pray silently in our heart for 1 minute as a closing prayer. But before then, I would love to inform us that there is refreshment for everybody. Please do not be in a haste to leave after the closing prayer. And, there is also an attendance that will be passing around. Please ensure that you fill it correctly with your details, with your names and everything. Please do not leave without putting your name down on the attendance sheet. So we'll just take 1 minute and then we'll pray in our hearts before we depart. Before refreshment, rather. Thank you very much. And our prayer begins now. Thank you very much. May God answer our prayers. At this point in time, we would proceed with refreshment.